In my opinion, an iron is one of the most, if not the most important tool in sewing. This is my latest favorite without any holes for the steam function. I know when I started out, I often skipped ironing because I was too lazy to set up the whole thing and waiting for it to warm up. But when I started using an iron, it made the world of difference. It is very important to use an iron if you want to get a really good result. I use this one for fusing interfacing because it doesn't have the holes for steam function like this one. Let's ignore how dirty it is for the time being. I have an old video showing how I clean irons. I'll link that in the description box. So these holes are nice for pressing and ironing seams, but not great for fusing interfacing. So I specifically looked for an iron without those holes, and it's kind of rare nowadays, at least where I live, so I had to order this online. It works great for the purpose I bought it for, so I really love using this one. And this little mini iron is very handy to use when you're sewing. You can just whip it out and sew the little area that you just sewed to move on to the next step. Like I said, I know it's tempting to skip ironing when you're sewing, but you really should iron in every step and after every seam to get a nice result at the end. I want to show you my pressing gears ranging from bare minimum that you should definitely have in your sewing room to more advanced ones that are probably an overkill if you are a casual sewing enthusiast, but they are really cool and help you out so much, so you might want to consider them in the future. If you want to start sewing, you should at least have this mini iron. I recommend a mini iron over a regular iron because when you are sewing, you need to do a lot of manipulation of fabric and it's easier with mini iron. I also recommend wool ironing mat like this one. This is just easy to whip out mid sewing and lowers the hurdle of using an iron by a lot. But if you have a regular ironing board, that's also good. These are Taylor's ham and sausage. They help to iron curved seams, and you also want to use it when you press the seam allowances open. These let you press only the seam you want to press without disturbing other parts of your fabric. For example, you have these curved seams that are hard to iron. It's hard to do it on a flat surface like this. But if you have a Taylor's ham, you can use a curve like so, kind of like make it fit over the curve of the ham like this, and you can iron it like this. Even if you have flat seams, let's just pretend that this is a flat seams, but you only want to press the seam allowances open, you could do that easily on them. You use this side for wool or flannel, any fabric you don't want to flatten the texture of, and you use this white side for flat fabric without a lot of pile and texture. And if you don't have them, you can make a makeshift one using a dowel. This is just a rolling pin from my kitchen. You can actually use it just like this. You can also wrap a towel around it like this and use it like Taylor's sausage. Also, pressing cloth comes in handy. It reduces the risk of your fabric getting damaged or your iron getting damaged, especially if you are using iron with steam holes. Sometimes delicate fabric gets caught in the holes and gets wrinkly, which is the opposite of what you want to do when you're ironing. Pressing cloth acts as a buffer and protects both your fabric and your iron. My favorite pressing cloth is silk organza like this one. It's see-through, so you can easily see what's happening under the pressing cloth. It was a game changer for me when I upgraded my pressing cloth from a piece of cotton muslin to silk organza. I usually have two pieces of pressing cloth, one for nice fabric and one for interfacing. I only use this one for fusing interfacing, so it gets glue on one side and gets burned later, so it doesn't stay nice, but this is just dedicated for that purpose. This one is for everything else, so this one stays nice. And this is mist spray bottle. This is not a regular spray bottle. It sprays really fine mist. This one is great for styling my hair too, so I use it for both hair and sewing. This is a wooden clapper, and this is a point turner and clapper combined. Much like hairstyling, when you're pressing fabric, you need to heat it up and cool it down to set the shape. And that's where this comes in. So you iron it and make it really hot, and then put this clapper over it to absorb the heat and set the shape. Or I learned this in a tailoring class. When you're making woolen jackets and you get a lot of layers of seam allowances that gets really thick and you want to flatten them, you add a lot of steam, then you just like really clap it to flatten the fiber and the seam allowances. So I guess that's why it's called clapper. And this one can also be used to absorb heat like this, but probably not great for the second use I just mentioned. And you can use these points to turn and iron collars of dress shirts. And sometimes I use tailored sausage to absorb heat, so you can use this for that purpose too. And probably the ultimate tool for ironing like a pro is vacuum board. I personally wouldn't buy it because I don't have a room for it, but what it does is it sucks the air from underneath the ironing board, so it cools down the fabric as you iron. So what I was doing with iron and the clapper, this vacuum board does it really fast. So it's great for factories or for someone who wants to start sewing business, but probably not a necessity for every sewing person. That's all I could think of, and I know everyone has different techniques, and I respect all the other ways of sewing professionals, and this is just my way of doing things. This video is also aimed for people who are just starting this hobby as a beginner, but if you have different techniques, something I missed, tips you want to add, please share them in the comment section. Because I am always genuinely excited to learn new techniques. But please keep it respectful so we don't scare away new people who want to start sewing. Thank you for watching. Happy sewing!